Yeah, and I had yeah, primarily the area that I want the I think that it would help me most and would be I have a rather unorthodox upbringing, you could say.
Okay.
You can kind of guess that given my name, which is a bit odd given that I'm a white person. I don't. Um, yeah, and it's a particularly Indian name. Like a lot of Indian people that I come across are like they expect.
Oh,
Yeah, they're kind of surprised because they expect a very Indian person when they come across my
gotcha.
name when they're delivering mail and stuff. But I don't have any. The only background that I have with India is this: that both my parents were happened to be university students at the University of Buffalo in
Okay.
the late 60s, okay? And like 68, 69. They were, my mom was from like Brooklyn and my dad was from Buffalo. Uh,
Okay.
and my mom was Jewish background and my dad was like Irish, German, uh, French, something like that.
Right.
And they were, pretty much middle class, regular. My mom's dad had a gas station in like Brooklyn, and my dad's dad was a government social a manager, something like that, like in
Oh, I see.
yeah, like social welfare administration, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and teacher, and those kind of profession. And but they both ended up being, there was a lot of weird things going on. There was a war then. There was there was assassinations. Anyway, they both got some. I can't really fully explain it, but they both um, just encountered this Indian guru who came through the camp.
Oh,
He came through the campus
okay.
at the University of Buffalo, and for one reason or another, they both became convinced to basically sign over their life to this guy, to
Oh,
this
I see.
cause. Okay, so I'm a direct result of that. They didn't know each other prior to doing this, signing themselves over to that. And the whole story follows from there, and it's quite a long, interesting tale. Like I spent like probably about 5 years of my childhood in India, actually
Oh,
growing up.
wow.
Yeah, growing up in
What an
India,
interesting, yeah,
I
upbringing.
learned. I know how to read and write Sanskrit or Hindi, just same thing.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and so like I don't have it normal, but there was a lot of really tough times. I really like just without my parents, they just sent me to boarding schools at a really young
Oh,
age, and I just ended up doing that, and not doing bad for myself considering what I had to fight through.
right.
I don't know if you want me to get into some of it or all of it, but that's what I
Um,
was hoping to talk to a counselor about,
right.
to
I
become
mean, if I can, sorry, go ahead.
just to become able to manage it in my brain. What, like I'm sure I've worked through a lot of my own pathologies up until now, um, you know, but I'm sure I have more to work through that have to do a lot with trust and issues with, feeling like, looking like making decisions hastily and making decisions that aren't as well thought. Everybody does that to an effect, but when you
Right.
don't really have parents like I didn't, I was raised by
Right.
these boarding school teachers who had no real attachment to me. This was an idea based on some Indian model from ancient India, which really had no
Right.
practical application. And they're still applying it in Canada and the US, even though it's been kind of outlawed. But they mostly send their kids to the regular schools now, or they have charter schools that they send them to, but they do believe that their system of education is superior to any secular system. So it's kind of like we were educated in a way that was not educated. So I did put myself into university as soon as I had the chance, and I did really well there, and I took all the courses that I was missing, like
Oh,
biology and chemistry and things like that, like geography, what else,
yeah.
geology.
That must have been really, yeah, like hard for you to do it on your own. And
It was
yeah,
hard, but it was
kudos to you.
also exciting because I would be the only one in these gen ed courses where I was in
Yeah.
university, and
Right.
so eager, just like so eager to learn. Everyone else was like, "Oh my God, I got to take this course," and like so the teachers would be like me, like getting notes and doing all this stuff, getting A's
Yeah.
and B's, and everybody else just
I
like
see.
coasting through. Like that was my experience in college. But I did do my best given the fact that I had already injured my neck. I injured my neck when I was 16, just playing in a tree.
Right.
And then that was my introduction to the world outside the cult, right? I basically had not really met or been in touch with people that were not within the group up until that point. I
Right.
had gone, don't mind me, I had gone shopping through my whole childhood. You know how many times I got to see my grandparents and cousins on, I could count them on one hand, less than, that,
Oh, I see.
yeah, they wouldn't, they thought that family ties were like not real, so they didn't make an attempt to tie me to my Jewish family or my Irish family, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh, yeah.
so like, yeah, like I do have connection with them now, but
Yeah.
it's not like as close as it could be or should be because of that.
Okay.
But that's just
Yeah.
scratching the surface of the stuff that I.
Yeah. What a. Thank you for sharing. Like such an like a like a unique like upbringing and experience.
It is, it is.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you mind if I kind of summarize so that what you've told me and I understand?
Yes, yes. Go ahead,
Uh,
please.
so for counseling, you're aiming for hopefully video for now, online counseling, and also to talk about like the nerve pain and the anything around that, and especially talking about your upbringing as well.
Yes, yes, and how it impacts my ability to cope with what I'm going through, and either positive or negative, but how I can improve.
Right.
Because I definitely have had issues with uh, with I guess fear over the last couple of years. Um, Fear of mostly of my body, which I guess
Okay.
is normal, and that has to do with what you were saying, the nerve symptoms and stuff. Like it was so alien to me, the sensations that I started having, and nobody was explaining to me what it was. I would go to the hospital and they would do all these tests on me. Oh, you're fine. And they'd give me some
Right.
painkillers and lorazepam and send me home, and then it would just come back again. I would start feeling these. My stomach would feel like I was being electrocuted, and my legs. It's like that now, but I've kind of trained my brain to just ignore it to some degree, or
I
or
see.
to
Okay.
not to ignore it, which is impossible, but to find ways of coping with it that are manageable. But I don't live the
Okay.
life that I used to. I used to go do a lot of things for myself that I don't do anymore.
Right. Okay. Um. So I'm wondering because the options I have for what you're looking for is we can go with the general avenue, or we can look harder for something more specific, especially with a counselor who has experience with a mix of like health conditions and pain um, and all those specific things that you were mentioning.
Okay, I think that's a
What
better
do you
idea.
think?
I
Oh, you
think
mean
that.
like a specific counselor for
Well,
that?
what do you think? I mean, yeah, I would. That's what I would think. Just somebody that at least was claimed to want to know about that or to have an interest in that.
Right. Okay. Let me see. Um, there's an extensive menu on the document I sent you. So, for example, it says general counseling, grief, trauma, mental health, health related. So we can go into those specific categories, um, or I can look through. There's a specific counseling company that we connect with often, and they have student counselors who focus on specific topics as well.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I I'm thinking without knowing anything about either option. I'm just guessing that with the student one, there's a chance of getting like a novice, right? But there's also a chance
Yes.
of getting like a really uh, novice with a lot of potential. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then with somebody, if I was looking for somebody specifically with experience, it probably takes some more time. Am I right with that?
True.
Those two?
Yes. And in terms of cost-wise, it'll vary. So, for example, some of the sliding scale fees for students or other programs, the lowest I see is about $30 up until above 100. So I think they would base it off
Uh,
your income or
yeah,
your,
my income for sure. Whatever
yeah,
the best one that I could get for the lowest cost would be probably what I would pick. So
gotcha.
that's probably the
Okay.
student option. Uh, and just
Okay. Let
pray
me
for some
see.
really good connection.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You know that you mentioned some things like you have a Jewish mother and heritage.
Yeah, yeah.
So my brain is thinking about a few things.
Okay.
There's another counseling. Oh, there's another group, the Jewish Family Services of Vancouver.
Oh, that's nice because I do. Some of my issues do have to do with that, with just
Okay.
my own background. On my grandmother's side, uh, all my family was killed in World War II. All her family, I should say.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, my great great grandparents. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Well,
don't know how
I'm
that
on their
impacts
website right.
me, but I was theorizing that it impacted my mom's decision to. So my grandma, for instance, like uh, abandoned. Well, she was still Jewish in her own way, but she didn't do any of the practices
Yeah.
because when her her dad passed away, um, I mean, no, yeah, when they came here, who knows? Like there was all kinds of factors involved. My
Right.
grandmother's sister, for instance, married a rabbi, and they kind of went in two different directions. My grandma went more secular and just started working and trying to take care. There was like the depression and stuff, and just take
Right.
care. I did a bit of research into my family. I like interviewed my mom, uh,
I see.
just to get an idea of what happened. Right. Even
Yeah.
though the cult background really did impact my relationship with my parents. That's a huge other subject.
Right.
There's still
Okay.
kind of believers in the thing, which shocks me. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. You said you still have some contact with them.
I do. I do. That's right.
Yeah.
Different degrees.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Can I? I'm just gonna describe some of the things I'm seeing on their website to you.
Okay.
So they have a general counseling and therapy option, which is through experienced therapists, and
Okay.
that is the $30 to $100 per session kind of deal. And
Okay.
it says here, it notes family of origin issues, so I guess addressing past family concerns that impact you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do also have a student intern program, and they're connected with UBC, SFU, and Yorkville graduate students. So they're at their final year in counseling,
Oh, that's
uh,
nice.
and that's actually free. It says here.
Oh, wow. I
and
could
they
go for
do
that.
offer online.
Wow, that's perfect. I
Awesome.
think that's a good
So,
fit.
okay, perfect. So it says here the way to do this is to contact this person named Alan Stamp, but they only have an email.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, do you use email, or would you
Yes,
like me
of
to send
course.
an email?
You
Okay.
can send one, but send it to me too. My email, or I
Okay.
can send it. But yeah, I've been having trouble keeping up with stuff like that. But I definitely would follow through with that.
Sure. Would you like me to either draft a message, or
Yeah,
you're comfortable doing
that's
that?
great. No, that would be
Okay.
great. Yeah.
Okay. So if I draft a message and then I'll forward you the message and their email, do you want to look at it and then send it yourself, or do you want me to just send it myself but share your email?
I'll look at it and maybe I'll send it back to you with if I make any changes. If not, I'll just go ahead
Okay.
and yeah, send it.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm glad that you shared that with me because we were able to find this connection.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy that we could find a decent fit.
Yes.
Um, okay, so how about I draft the email and I'll send it to you with their email attached,
Okay.
and then you can get back to me, or you can send it if you feel comfortable.
Okay. Sounds really good.
Awesome. And then do you want me to
I'll
follow up
keep
with you in about a week or two, or do you want to just book with me later on?
I can BCC you or just CC you with it when I send it to them too.
Sure, sure. Okay,
Okay.
that sounds great.
Awesome, awesome. What was the other question?
Um,
Sorry. Oh yeah, follow up
yeah.
for sure, for sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah, how would you like? In a week or two?
A week.
A week? Okay. Let me book into my schedule for in a week. Let me see. Next week is, I've got the 30th, and what time's okay to call you?
Like this time is really good. Anytime between noon and 2:30 is probably the best. Yeah.
Okay. How about I call you at 2?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I have you down here for 2, and then I'll draft this email right now, and then you'll probably get it in the next 15 minutes.
Oh, thank you, man.
No worries. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad I could talk to you today and help you out a little bit.
Yeah. No, you might have helped me out a great deal.
No worries. And
you
again,
have.
if this doesn't pan out, we can always explore the other options or the general counseling route.
I think it'll work out. I think I have a good feeling it'll work out. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in a week.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. So that was a good. Yeah. Thank you, Lord. That was a blessing. Passover blessing. My grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Or thank you, God, on behalf of my grandma. know what you're referring to.
Carry on.
Thank you.
Where are you going through this one?
2.